Hello friends, welcome to my channel Ritu's Tutorial, and today we will be discussing a very important poem, Easter 1916 by W.B. Yeats. Now this poem is describing actually the poet's tone, emotions regarding the events of Easter Rising staged in Ireland against British rule on Easter Monday, April 24, 1916. Now, the uprising was unsuccessful and most of the Irish Republican leaders were involved for the execution of the treason. The poem was written between May and September 1916, but it was first published in 1921 in the collection of Michael Roberts and the Dancer. Now, regarding the background of the poem, Easter 1916 by W.B. Yeats is a poem about an Irish immature revolutionary plan which became unsuccessful to overthrow the British reign in Ireland. About 1500 people had participated in this revolution to seize the government office building of Dublin on Easter morning. But 300 of them were killed on the spot and more than 200 people were killed or taken as prisoner and tortured. Now let's go and read out the poem first. Easter 1916 by W.B. Yeats. I have met at close of day, coming with vivid faces from counter or decks among grey 18th century houses. I have passed with a nod of the head, or polite meaningless words, or have lingered a while and said polite meaningless words, and thought before I had done of a mocking tale or a gib, to please a companion around the fire at the club, being certain that they and I but lived where motley is born, all changed utterly, a terrible beauty is born. That woman's days were spent in ignorant goodwill, her nights in argument, until her voice grew shrill. What voice more sweeter than hers, when young and beautiful she rode to harriers? This man had kept a school and rode our winged horse. This other, his helper and friend, was coming into his force. He might have won fame in the end, so sensitive his nature seemed, so daring and sweet his thought. This other man I had dreamed, a drunken, vainglorious lout, he had done most bitter wrong to some who are near my heart, yet I number him in the song. He too has resigned his part in the casual comedy. He too has been changed in his turn, transformed utterly. A terrible beauty is born. Hearts with one purpose alone, through summer and winter seem enchanted to a stone, to trouble the living stream, the horse that comes from the road, the rider, the birds that range from cloud to tumbling cloud. Minute by minute they change, a shadow of cloud on the stream. Changes minute by minute, a horse hoof slides on the brim, and a horse splashes within it. The long-legged moor hens dive, and hens to moor cocks call. Minute by minute they live, the stones in the midst of all. Too long a sacrifice can make a stone of the heart. Oh, when it may suffice that in heaven's part, our part to murmur name upon name, as a mother names her child when sleep at last has come on limbs that had run wild. What is it but nightfall? No, not night, but death. Was it needless death after all? From England may keep faith for all that is done and said. We know that dream enough to know that dreamed and are dead. And what if excess of love bewildered them till they died. I write it out in a verse, MacDonough and MacBride and Connolly and Pierce, now and in time to be, wherever green is worn, are changed, changed utterly, a terrible beauty is born. So here we have come to the end of the poem. Now let's go to the detail of the description. In Easter 1916, the poet begins with a criticism of politicians, both living and those who are dead in the recent revolution. Yeats was deeply moved by the heroism and martyrdom of the rebels. There are two interrelated themes in Easter 1916, one political and public, and the other personal and private. The poem also explores Yeats' personal response to the failed rebellion and to the cost of such sacrifice. Yeats was pessimistic about the character of his countrymen. In the first-person voice that conveys Yeats' personal belief, the opening confesses disillusionment. With the shadow existence before the Easter uprising, the tone of the poem shifts from casual indifference to confusion and sadness over the loss of life that resulted. Stanza 2 and 3 convey a tone of sadness at the loss of Yeats' friends and acquaintances and confusion. On the other hand, Yeats admired their steadfast commitment to their purpose of pursuing Ireland's independence. On the other hand, he questions the extent to which passion, even a passion for what one believes to be right, can misguide and lead to tragedy. In the third stanza, Yeats has talked about the people who had only one purpose in mind, which was the liberation of Ireland from the rule of England. This had united their hearts. He explains the poem that the Irish, hearts with one purpose alone, were enchanted by a stone to drop it in a living stream. In the fourth and the final stanza, William Butler Yeats begins with the lines, "Too long a sacrifice can make a stone of the heart, oh when it may suffice." And so the stone becomes linked to the heart. In this reference, the reader is led to think of the stone heart as encompassing all of Ireland. Indeed, there was much unrest among people. There was as proven by the existence of Easter Rising. The tone of the poem was sorrowful. As William Butler Yeats wrote, "We know their dream enough to know they dreamed and are dead." This harsh image is a tough one, even today, to digest. That the Irish people fought for independence, their shared dream, and yet many were killed in the end, and is a tragic notion to digest. It is obvious that Yeats felt Ireland was in a state of chaos, and he was sending the message that things needed to change. He was also expressing pain about the passing of many well-known revolutionaries. And tragic too is the way Easter 1916 ends, with the powerful line echoed again, "A terrible beauty is born." So, this poetry by W.B. Yeats is quite fascinating because it is so different from the traditional images of Easter. There is no mention of bunnies or chocolates, and happiness is overridden by the later stones. Yeats would have known most of them personally, having dabbled in nationalistic politics himself as a young man. He would therefore stop and exchange pleasantries or polite meaningless words, but he did not take them seriously. Indeed, he would be just as likely to mock them and tell amusing stories about them when he met his friends later in his club. Yeats indicates that these individuals have transformed utterly. Yeats continues to say that wherever the spirit of Ireland lies, represented by people wearing the color green, those people will be forever changed. So friends, if you have liked my video, please subscribe my channel, like, share and comment. Thank you.